Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Captain Planet and the Planeteers, issue number 3. I hope this goes on for a long time because I'm still having, I don't know, I love the book. I really do. I'm having problems wondering why I love this book because there's so much, but it's just way too fast. I mean, like, seriously, it's like the brakes are off, and it's not a roller coaster, but there's a bit of a decline, right? And there's without brakes, it's like slow the book down. Let's get talking about all that good stuff and the story after we give credit where credit's due. So we've got David Papose, probably butchering the guy's name. Please tell me how to pronounce your freaking name. Anyway, he's the writer. The artist is Iman Casellos. I'm pretty sure I got that one right. Colorist, Jorge Sutil, and letters by Jeff Eckelberry. This book is, I don't know, it's fantastic. We start off with the Gulf of America. I'm just kidding. A bunch of people probably flipped their lid at hearing that. Calm down, peeps. It's just jokes. Anyway, start off in the Gulf of Mexico, and we find I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a video game character, Duke Nukem. Like, isn't that a video game? I think so. Anyways, a guy named Duke Nukem, and he's, destroying an oil rig. So the prices of, it almost seems like he's a good guy in this. It's odd because, I'm destroying the oil rig, which granted is going to cause pollution. And that's exactly what, Captain Planet is there to stop, and the Planeteers, right? But, we're going to ruin big oil. So isn't that arguably a good thing? I don't understand what's going on here. Anyway, he's being hired by Plunder, apparently, to go out and kick some butt on all these Planeteers and Captain Planet and all that, to continue the ruination of Gaia and what she's trying to accomplish. So, it's funny. Captain Planet is already involved in this big thing. It's a kerfluffle, if you will, against some bad guys. And he's using his powers. Okay, so here's where I get torn. The Planeteers are just realizing their power, how their rings work, right? We've got really awesome powers, but when we call Captain Planet, it's a superpower, but it's only one guy. And now in this issue, they're realizing I can't use my rings anymore. Okay, that's awesome. This actually, I always keep this one here. I got my plastic ones back there, but Green Lantern, that's what this kind of reminds me of. The idea that the Green Lantern, Hal Jordan especially, but all of the Green Lanterns are heroes, regardless of whether they've got their rings or not. Right? That's a huge point about those characters. And they're starting to really push that. Well, they're starting to push that here. And I'm hoping they get into that more, right? Some of the characters go and they jump in and they start trying to rescue people, even though they don't have their powers and they're, at risk and arguably, I don't know, it's one of those things like, if a building is falling, your goal should not be to run in and cover a kid unless you've got the powers of the Thing or the Hulk or something like that, right? You should be running in trying to grab the kid and run out. Not like, oh, I don't want you to die alone. I don't know if that's how spirits work. All right? I'll ask Kami or whatever the guy's name is, who's the power of heart, right? Maybe he knows. But, yeah, you should be trying to actually rescue kids. Instead, you just put another person in danger for Captain Planet to come and rescue. But Planet goes and says, how did you know such and such and such? It's a little too on the nose for me. Little tiny bit too on the nose. How did you know I was going to be able to save you? I didn't know. Yeah. Is that something that happened in the cartoon and they had to, tell instead of show? It could have been done afterwards. It could have been a thing of, earlier when you went to rescue that kid. You knew I might not have been able to rescue you. That shows heart. I see Gaia chose well, right? Or the ring chose well, right? Something like that. That would have been so much more epic, right? You tell a thing afterwards, but initially you show. Give me a reason to go back and look at something that I may have missed. So these guys are just learning how their powers work, which in many ways it's interesting. I know all the people who who watched the cartoon know this stuff already. I didn't watch the cartoon, not a single episode. Right? There's always my buddy Dwight who was like, Captain Planet. I'm like, yeah, shut up. How about that? Freaking watching cartoons. But I get it now. I really do. I love the idea that they're realizing they don't have their powers after they use the ring, because now it's a special kind of thing. Now it's like, we have this great power in the ring, and we could do all these things, defend ourselves, help people, whatever, right? We have power with the ring. But when we summon Captain Planet, we're relinquishing this power. That's a good and a bad thing. Good because you got a more powerful thing. And it's almost, I know there's going to be some people who are going to get upset at this analogy. Too bad. Grow up. It's kind of like going to church. When you go to church, you're realizing, I need to let go of my ego and recognize that there's one higher than me, that I have to just give everything to him. I can't do this alone, right? That's a beautiful thing. I love that idea. In order to make a greater power, you have to trust the greater power, which means relinquishing whatever ego you've got in this ring. Kind of like the fist. He who lives by the sword dies by the sword, right? At some point, you have to put the sword down. You can't live your entire life by the sword or by the ring. Right? So I really love that analogy that I can derive from this. And we're all going to get our own things from this. Mind you, I'm coming fresh, never having known what these, Captain Planet people are, right? So I really love the idea of that, the almost religious, sentiment of it. Absolutely love that. But then you've got the problem with Captain Planet and each other. They all seem to know each other. Your heart has always been good, even before Gaia met you. And it's like, are you psychic? Is there something I should know? Like, what's going on? I want the character, what I would love to see is this being written in the form of Captain Planet and the Planeteers, more specifically the Planeteers, year one. Right? That's what I really want to feel like they're coming together for the first time. And I know they're showing this, and most of the time they are, but certain things where it's like, hey, we've known each other forever. No, I need to really feel like you're trying to get along. It seems like 4 of them want to work together, but Wheeler, I know his name now because they yell at him enough in this one, and he's the redheaded kid, go figure. Wheeler is the one who's kind of like, I don't want to be a member of this. If he's the only one who's got any individual personality in this, that's going to be a problem. But I get it. This is just issue 3. We've got time to get the other guys having their thing also. But this could be done in a way, I don't know. Do we need to see Captain Planet so early? I think the problem in that is that it's the Captain Planet fans who are thinking this is a half-hour episodic thing where Captain Planet has to show up at one point. The original Incredible Hulk TV show with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. The Hulk has to show up at least once, usually twice in every episode, right? No. This is a comic book. It can't be a full episode unless Dynamite Comics, who are freaking awesome, are going to put in more into this. Right? They're going to say, okay, we're going to make these, 50-page issues or whatever it would be, double-sized issues or something like that. But that's an awful lot to put into this specific license. I'd almost rather them see them do this on their own and make these characters or some other characters like these on their own. Because, I don't want to see Captain Planet. I want to see Captain Planet in flashbacks, maybe. I would love it that if issue 6, if that's the way this, first storyline is going to end, issue 6 is when we finally see Captain Planet. I want to know more about the Planeteers. I want to know more about these individuals. Wheeler, to me, I understand this character. I think he's basically Guy Gardner. Think about like we just got finished seeing him in the Superman movie. He's basically Guy Gardner. He looks like him. He certainly acts like him. He's got very similar powers to him, right? I like this character so far. I like the idea that he might be treated as the Judas Iscariot. Will he actually succumb? I'm imagining not, because then there is no more Captain Planet. But I love the idea that we're getting some kind of character development out of at least one of these characters. I want them to do that with more, and I think we need less Captain Planet and more Planeteers in order to accomplish that. I really do enjoy these characters, and I'm so far really liking the heck out of this book. I really wish they would just build the characters more slowly, is what I'm really looking for. But other than that, the fans who already know this stuff, I don't know, maybe something like that, it would be something that would slow the book down too much for you. I don't know. But me personally, as a complete outsider, yeah, that's the only thing that can make this book any better, is to just slow it down, right? Less is more, right? Less Captain Planet, more Planeteers. I think we already get the idea that Captain Planet is the God figure here, right? Cool. Let's know about the sinners before we learn about the Holy Spirit, right? So anyway, that's all I've got. Really liking this. I'm going to be reading the next issue. Talk about the religious themes. The next issue is called The Last Temptation of the Planeteers or something like that, right? I love this. Also, why would they go and trust someone named Dr. Blight? I'm sorry. Doesn't the name just tell you right away she's a bad guy? Anyway, loving this book. I'll talk to you guys later. More when the next issue comes out. Love, peace, and hair grease. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.